I want us to now discuss the difference between a live HTML collection and a static node list. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, man, why do I need to know this stuff? And it is pretty advanced, I'll be honest with you. And maybe you don't need to use it, but it is very good to understand in any event. Just to understand at a very high level anyway as to what the differences are. Let's start by looking at the HTML collection, which is a live list. What do I mean by a live list? All that means is that if we create a list, we query the DOM, we create a list. Say then we later modify the DOM by adding or removing from the list. That original list that we queried, that will be updated automatically. It will be a live list. Let me show you what I mean. So let's create an HTML document. Let's just have a head for completeness sake and a body. Within the body, let's just create a list. And within the list, let's have, 3 list items. Bam. We can go pow. And kazam. And if we look at this in our browser, we've just got list items, bam, pow, and kazam. Nothing special. Let's go back to our text editor. And now I want us to add JavaScript. Let's start querying the DOM. The first thing I want to do is I want to access our list items. Do you remember how to do this? There are many ways, right? There are many access methods. But the one I want to use needs to return an HTML collection because that's what I want to look at here. And in order to do that, let's just use getElements by tag name. So let's define a JavaScript variable called list items. And we can just go underscore tag so we know we've used it by the tag name. Then we start at our root of our entire page, which is the document. You know this by now. Then we access the method getElements by tag name. And of course, the tag name we want to access is the li tag. So now we've got our li tags. Let's console log this out to the console. And I also want to console log its length. Its length property. So I would expect there to be how many items in this collection. That's right, I would expect there to be 3 because we've got bam, pow, and kazam. So let's go to our page. Let's inspect the document. Let's go to our console. And there we go. We know that it returns an HTML collection. And if we access the length property, we can see that there are 3 items in this list. If we open up the HTML collection, here are our 3 list items with the length property of 3, which we've separately console logged to the screen. So far, so good. It makes sense. But now let's modify the DOM. So let's go back to our coding editor and let's just say here, let's modify the DOM and add a list item. Now I want to actually add an item to our DOM, another list item. Don't worry about how I'm doing this. We have a whole section on creating elements, which is actually really fun. But for now, I'm just going to write the code. So you might not understand it. Don't worry, we're going to get into it later. So the first thing I want to do is I want to access our list item tags. I want to access the very first item within this collection. I then want to access its parent node. And there are many ways to create an element. Okay, we're going to get into this later. This is just one of many. And then what I want to do is I want to append a child. And what do I want to append to this UL element? Well, I want to just create another li tag. And as we'll see later on in this course, to create a new element, we just access the document object as we always do. And then we access a property on that document called create element. Here, the element I want to create is an li tag. Now, the cool thing here is because we're going through a simple example, I don't need to add anything within the list. I don't need to add text or do anything because that's not the point of this exercise. Here, we've just added another li tag. All I want to do now is I want to console log our original list items tags variable. And this is the point. This is the whole point of the exercise. I want to show you what that returns. What do you think it should return? Well, if you said it should return an HTML collection now of 4 items, you'll be 100% correct. Because remember, the HTML collection always returns a live collection. So even if we modify the DOM, that original query that we made to the DOM will automatically be updated. And I can prove that by also console logging the list items, tags, length property. And we should expect that to be 4. So let's go to our browser. Let's just clear the console and let's refresh. So firstly, you can see that another li tag has been included in the DOM. We can see that on the page. There's a little bullet point there. That's our li tag. But look at this HTML collection. It now includes 4 li tags. And of course, the length property is 4. This is awesome, and this is probably what you would expect to happen in most instances. But like I said, sometimes as a developer, you don't want this to happen. You want to keep a record of the original length and the original list that was created. This wouldn't give that to you, would it? Because it automatically updates. So let's go back now to our console. Before I move on to the node list, just remember what we've done. We've accessed all our list items on this page via getElementsByTagName. And by doing so, we returned an HTML collection. And what that means is that if we later allow the user to modify the DOM, for example, here we just added another li tag, that list will automatically get updated. And that's why the HTML collection is referred to as a live list. It updates in live all the time. Now I want us to look at a node list. So let me just comment all of this out. Now we're going to be looking at a node list. So let me go like this and I'll go node list time. There you go. Just to separate the different sections of our code. This one here can be HTML collection time. There you go. So here we go. I want us to look at the node list now. What is the starting point? The starting point is let's grab all of our list tags. And how do we do that? Well, let's create a variable called list items. Let's access the document. And remember, this time I want something that returns a node list. And that is the query selector all, isn't it? So we access the query selector all. And of course, we want all the li tags. And let's just do a comment here. We can see it returns a node list. And we can see that because if we console log the list items and we console log list items length, we'll be able to see that it's a node list. And what length would you expect it to return? If we scroll up, we've got our li tags. That's right, I'd expect a value of 3 to be returned. So let's go back to our browser. Let's refresh the page, and there you go. Firstly, we can see that it returns a node list, and we can see that it contains 3 nodes. We can open it up, just like we did with the HTML collection, and we can see a reference to all our li tags. At this point, it looks exactly the same, but remember the node list is a static list. It won't get updated automatically. So let me show you what I mean by this. Let's go back to our text editor. And again, let's add to the list and prove that the node list is static. We are just proving here that the node list is static. So now if we access our list items, the first item within that collection, I want to access its parent node, and then I want to append a child to the UL tag. And I want to append a child called document, create element, and I want to create an li tag. If we now console log this list items, and we console log list items, the length property, what would you expect to see? Remember with the HTML collection, we added an li tag and then the list items got automatically updated and we saw the length property increase to 4. Here, that's not going to be the case because the node list is static. It only has reference to the original list item collection. So if we go to our browser now and we clear the console and refresh, you can see our node list has not changed. Hasn't changed one bit. It still consists only of 3 li tags, even though you and I can see on the DOM there's a 4th li tag. I mean, I can prove that to you by going to the elements, opening up our list, and you can see we've added a 4th li tag. But yet, our node list only shows 3. So with a node list, we would actually have to re-query the DOM. There are many ways to do this. The most simple Of course, let's re-query the DOM. And this just takes more code. You can see it's a bit more cumbersome, because now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go access our list items, and we're going to have to now just re-query the DOM. Document, query selector, all the LIs. And now, of course, we can console log our list items again, and we can console log its length. We would have to do this, and now if we go back here, refresh, we can see that the node list has been updated now, but it was only because we re-queried the DOM. So it's just quite performance heavy. Woo! We have come a long way. Seriously, well done. It's been awesome. I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you are too. And now you understand the difference between a live HTML collection versus a static node list.